Blake's heart stopped the moment he saw the photo. His sister grinning in front of his old house, holding the keys like she had won a lifetime jackpot. 2 weeks ago, Blake had quietly sold that house. The very place where years of insults, favoritism and control had made him feel small. Now, watching her smug face, a mix of anger and dark satisfaction twisted inside him. She thought she had everything, but she didn't even know the game had changed. Before I continue, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. You're not going to believe what happens next. Growing up, Blake had been the disappointment son, constantly compared to his sister, mocked for every failure and ignored when he succeeded quietly. But those days were over. Every late night spent hustling, every small victory tucked away from their judgmental eyes, had been a step toward this exact moment. And now, as she unpacked dishes and laughed at what she assumed was her victory, Blake felt a thrill he had set the stage without anyone noticing. He sent a casual text. "Enjoy the house while it lasts. That's all." Innocent words, right? But underneath it was a warning. He had sold the house under the radar, and the closing papers were irreversible. The money was gone, transferred into an account that she couldn't touch. Every smug smile she gave was about to crash into reality, and Blake was ready to watch. The tension hit its peak when he drove past the street. His sister waved at him, unaware that she had just stepped into a trap of his design. Neighbors whispered, doors clicked, and Blake imagined their faces when they realized he had outsmarted everyone quietly. He had turned the ultimate humiliation into his victory, but he wasn't done yet. Every move he made from this moment would sting like revenge wrapped in a lesson they'd never forget. And just when it seemed she had all the control, Blake knew something shocking was about to happen. Something that would flip the entire family upside down. Blake parked a few blocks away, pretending to scroll on his phone. From there, he could see his sister hosting what she thought was her triumph party friends, neighbors, even some family members who had always looked down on him. Laughter and clinking glasses floated out of the open windows, but Blake didn't step in. He let them enjoy the illusion for a while longer. He remembered the day his parents handed her the keys. Their smiles were fake, their congratulations hollow. "She deserves it," his mom had said, completely ignoring the fact that Blake had worked years to finally save enough to live freely. Every word they had uttered that belittled him replayed in his mind like a movie. And now, the irony was almost delicious. They had handed her a trophy she didn't earn, while Blake had quietly written the rules of the game. Inside the house, his sister was bragging, pointing to furniture and decorations, calling Blake's old memories cheap and outdated. But Blake had left one surprise for her. A hidden folder of documents on the kitchen counter, labeled simply, "Your new responsibilities." Curious, she opened it. Bank statements, utility transfers, and the final sale papers stared back at her. Every line screamed that she had nothing. Panic replaced her smug smile, but the crowd outside didn't see the storm brewing behind the door. Blake leaned against his car, watching her scramble. He texted his mum. "The house is sold. Check your messages." Moments later, the calls began. Screaming voices, confusion, even a hint of fear. For the first time, his parents realized that their perfect daughter was trapped in a game she hadn't even known she was playing. Blake didn't answer a single call. He smiled, knowing that all those years of silent effort had brought him here. By the time she called him directly, Blake's calm voice cut through her panic. "2 weeks ago, I sold the house. You've got the keys, but not the control." Shock, anger, disbelief, she didn't even know what to say. And Blake knew this was only the beginning. Every smug comment she had ever made would come back to haunt her, in ways she could never have predicted. Weeks passed and Blake's next move was subtle but brilliant. While everyone focused on the house fiasco, he quietly began hosting pop-up meetings with local real estate investors and tech developers he had been building relationships with for years. He didn't flaunt it. No social media posts, no announcements. But the same community that had underestimated him now looked to Blake with awe, as he flipped small properties into profitable ventures, earning 6 figures in weeks. His sister, meanwhile, still thought she had outsmarted him. Every time she boasted at a neighbor or posted on social media about her victory, Blake quietly sent updates to investors, building leverage, gaining momentum, and stacking wins behind the scenes. One evening, she invited their parents over, bragging about her parties, her furniture, her control over his old life. Blake arrived unannounced, dressed casually, his phone buzzing non-stop with new deals. He walked past them, barely acknowledging their glares, and casually mentioned a recent acquisition he'd made. Curiosity piqued, they pressed him, and Blake's calm smile hid the storm inside. He had not only sold the house but also invested in properties that would dwarf anything his parents or sister had imagined. The tables had turned, and Blake's silent empire was ready to be revealed. The day of the ultimate reveal came faster than anyone expected. Blake's sister had planned another showy gathering, this time bragging to the family about her new control over the house and how she had outsmarted him. Guests sipped champagne, laughter echoed, and her parents beamed, convinced she had won the day. Blake arrived quietly, wearing a calm smile that made no sense to anyone. He didn't rush in or announce himself. Instead, he waited until the perfect moment as she gave a dramatic tour of the house. Blake subtly pulled out his phone and projected a series of slides onto the wall. Bank statements, contracts, and property valuations lit up the room, each one proving the house had been sold weeks ago, and that every penny was legally untouchable. The room went silent. His sister froze mid-sentence, the smug look on her face replaced by sheer panic. What is this?" she stammered, her voice shaking. Every guest stared at her, whispers rising like wildfire. Blake's parents finally saw the truth in black and white. Their perfect daughter had nothing, while Blake had quietly turned the situation to his advantage, not just selling the house but investing the profits into properties and businesses that were already making him millions. The humiliation was public, complete, and undeniable. Guests who had once doubted him now looked at Blake with awe, their eyes reflecting shock and admiration. The underdog had risen, silently building an empire while everyone else played games. But Blake wasn't done. Over the next few weeks, he continued to reveal more of his success strategically. He bought a boutique property downtown, launched a tech venture he had been secretly developing, and even secured partnerships with investors who had previously ignored him. Every move was calculated to ensure that his family realized the depth of their misjudgment. His sister tried to compete, posting on social media and boasting, but Blake's silent growth had outpaced her, leaving her scrambling to catch up. Finally, at a family dinner meant to flaunt her victory, Blake walked in with the contracts for his latest acquisitions. Calmly, he placed them on the table. "Everything I've done was quiet, but now you can see it." His sister's face drained of color. His parents, who had once mocked him, could barely speak. Every insult, every slight, every moment they had ever tried to hold him down had now been flipped into his triumph. The emotional satisfaction hit hard, not just for him, but for everyone witnessing it. Blake, the underestimated son, had taken complete control of his destiny, proving that silent effort, patience, and strategy could beat arrogance and favoritism every time. Blake's sister thought she had the upper hand, So she decided to host a celebration dinner at the house, inviting friends and family to admire her new kingdom. She laughed as she walked through the rooms, showing off what she believed was her victory. Blake arrived quietly, carrying nothing but a calm presence and a folder that would change everything. No one expected him to actually attend as the party continued. Blake waited until everyone was gathered in the living room. Then, with a subtle nod, he opened the folder and projected the documents onto the wall. Gasps filled the room. Contracts proving the house had been sold, bank transfers confirming that the money was long gone from her reach, and property valuations showing Blake's smart investments flashed for all to see. Her smile faltered, her eyes wide with disbelief. Guests' whispers turned into stunned silence as Blake explained, in simple words, that every move he had made was deliberate. He didn't shout. He didn't argue. He just revealed the facts. His sister stuttered, trying to cover her panic. But everyone could see the truth. The woman who had bragged about her victory suddenly looked small, her pride crushed under the weight of reality. Blake's parents turned pale, realizing they had been fooled by appearances. Every time they had praised her over him, ignored his hard work, or mocked his efforts, he had quietly built something stronger. And now, all that silent effort was on full display. For the first time, the family understood that Blake's calm demeanor and patience had been his secret weapon. And the humiliation of their mistakes was as public as it could get. The final blow came quietly, yet with devastating impact. Blake had waited until the perfect moment, and now, standing in the center of the room, he revealed the full extent of his empire. "The house isn't mine anymore," he said calmly, "but everything I've done since selling it is worth far more than you can imagine." He pulled out a tablet, showing investments, properties, and business deals that had quietly multiplied into millions of dollars. His sister's jaw dropped. She had thought she was the winner of this family game, but every smug comment, every boast, every belittling remark she had ever made now reflected back at her like a mirror of failure. You sold the house?" She stammered, disbelief etched across her face. "Yes," Blake replied, "and I used it to build my future while you were busy playing queen of someone else's home." Blake's parents were speechless, their faces a mixture of shock and regret. They had always pushed him aside, doubted his abilities, and celebrated his sister's achievements while ignoring his hard work. Now, every doubt, every insult, every unfair comparison had flipped into a lesson in humility. Blake had quietly risen from the underdog to the one holding all the power. The guests, who had once sided with his sister, now looked at Blake with awe. He didn't need to boast. The numbers, the proofs, and the calm confidence in his voice spoke louder than anything else. The emotional satisfaction was complete, not just revenge, but triumph, justice, and undeniable proof that patience, effort, and strategy could outshine arrogance. In the end, Blake didn't just reclaim his dignity. He rewrote the rules. His sister and parents learned that underestimating someone who works silently is a costly mistake. And Blake, the quiet underdog, had transformed humiliation into victory, proving that real power isn't loud, it's smart, strategic, and unstoppable.